What up, y'all? Welcome to the inaugural fill in the blank titled Something About Creatives podcast. I'm Josh, aka JoshyGonz. This is the homie Lugo, aka I don't know, man. I want to be respectful of the respected titles, of course.
Yeah, Lugo. Let's just go with Lugo.
Perfect, man.
Go with Lugo. The rest is to government. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said I want to be respectful. I don't know if I know you don't got anything crazy, but you know. So we're trying to create a space that is, I don't want to necessarily say on the FUBU side, but like kind of for us, by us, in the sense of, just kind of talking on our experiences and just kind of all things creative. So shouts to the stage crew, aka the Kev on Stage Studios Patreon. We kind of reached the handout to ask for some creative type questions that people might have, and they laced us with hundreds, mad overwhelming. So we just picked a few for now. We're gonna go back to some more in the future potentially, and kind of just get going. So Lugo, do you want to intro yourself for those who might not know where you hail from and how fire your set is, to where I gotta completely rethink my life and what I'm doing on this side to make it kind of match up to par?
I'm Lugo. I got connected through Josh. What was it? Through IG.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's 2-3 years, low key, maybe.
It might have been 17. Yeah, I think it was the first year we toured.
Yeah, that's true. Because that was the year I was in college. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
17. Damn, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute. 3 years through IG. I reached out. I was like, yo, let me shoot some stuff for one of the comedy shows. But now we connected since then. Josh has been putting me on every time I've been out in Cali. And yeah, I'm just a young creative. I'm young. I'm 22.
Man.
Just out here shooting stuff.
Outside by yourself, bro. This is crazy, bro.
Man, yeah, that's it, pretty much. And we just kind of figured things out month by month. That's really how it is.
We've been talking about doing this for a minute, but it came down to let's just throw it on the wall and see if something sticks. So let's just jump right into it, man. I kind of want to. We got about 10 questions picked for this episode. We're gonna kind of see how the conversation goes and see how far into these questions go. Worst case, we do a part 2, just because I want to kind of do our best to get to most of these questions, and this is kind of a form of us sharing our experiences and kind of to give back as well. So one of the questions that kind of stuck out to us was any tips for parents regarding young creatives. We want to encourage and not stifle creativity. Also welcome suggestions on inexpensive starter camera gear. And I think this is actually a really dope question, because it kind of made me think back on when I feel like my parents kind of eased into the idea of my passions and whatnot. Because like growing up, Lugo, I don't know if you know about this about me. I played mad sports, so it was always like practice, school. There wasn't really like, I always had like things that I was interested and passionate about in terms of, I think, middle school.
Soccer.
I played soccer, of course, bro. Come on, man. That's our whole thing. That's our whole thing. Yeah, I played soccer, baseball, and like I hooped a little bit, but once I stopped growing, I was just like, I'm done.
Oh really? Because me, 4'11" was like, yo, I'm going to the NBA.
Word? You were going to the league? I didn't even know that.
Bruh, middle school, bro. I was like, yo, it's it. Muggsy Bogues part 2,
bro. Yeah, you already. I was gonna say you had the idol. You were good to go. But I remember, at least for me, my uncle had like a little Nikon DSLR, like one of the joints you pick up at Costco, and like every time we go to like family reunions and stuff, I'd be like, hey man, let me use it. I was always hyped because like I felt like official photographers, but then I saw the prices of what those ran for and stuff, and I was just like, yeah, there's no shot I'm getting one of those. But I remember like my 8th grade trip when we went to like DC, I was like, Pops, I really want a camera, like and then he got me like some 7 megapixel Vivitar joint from like Office Max or Office Depot.
Sheesh.
But that was like a highlight memory. Looking back now, I'm like, dang, like looking back, it's dope to like had a parent. Both my parents were mad supportive as well, but like that was something that like I vividly remember on getting like my first camera in hand. So I think like tip wise, it's super important to kind of like, it might be important to recognize, obviously I don't got kids, Lugo he doesn't have kids either. But
I mean,
that I know of. Actually, I don't. Let me
nah,
speak
nah,
on that
nah.
behalf. But no, but I think it's dope to at least kind of like recognize maybe some like passions or anything creatively that your child might be interested in, just to kind of like feed it a little bit. Obviously, like don't go all in all at once, because that also might be like a phase or something that they're like interested in the for the time being, but might not like dwell on it, or it might not necessarily grow. But I do
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
dope, or it's important to kind of like recognize and and feed it and kind of see where it goes.
yeah. I think I definitely do think it depends on like the age group. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, if they're like I would say like middle school kids, I think at that age you're just curious. Like myself, I play sports. I definitely didn't do soccer. I was like track and field. I was like, bro, that's too much running. I did baseball. You know, I'm half Dominican, so that just comes naturally. And then basketball. I played baseball and basketball, so I was into sports. But I was the type of kid always picking up stuff like on the side, like drumming, drawing. Dude, I used to draw a lot. Just mad stuff, and I always like give up like halfway. Like I always half-ass do stuff. I never fully committed, and then that's why I was low key scared to get into doing photography or like just camera stuff. But I was always like fascinated. Like my grandma, I think one time for Christmas she bought me this little purple little. It almost looked like an iPod. It had a screen, but it was a camera. It was like 12 megapixels, bro. I was so lit, dog. I was like, yo, these photos is ill. But yeah, I definitely do think it depends on the age range. Because in middle school, I think it's definitely a good thing as a parent to just push creativity or just let them feel things out almost. I grew up with a single parent, so my mom was always super supportive and she was just busy. So it was really more like me and my brother were like kind of tag teaming and helping out. But yeah, I would definitely say for parents that are have kids that are older, like in like 12th grade, like I think that's almost like the stretching period. Like, okay, I know for my mom, because you know, like at least at least for like my mom, you know, it's kind of like, yo, you're going to college. Like you gotta go to college. And for me it was kind of like I told her. I remember telling my mom, my like mom, I'm dropping out. And she thought I was joking. But yeah, I went into college knowing I was gonna drop out to eventually like do this camera stuff.
Oh snap!
But yeah, I went out for like a year in Boston. I live in Springfield, so like 2 hours away. So I kind of went out just to get out of my small city, be in a big city. And I told her I was dropping out. And it kind of like she knew college wasn't really meant for me, but it didn't click until I actually did it. She was like, "Yo, like, what are you doing?" But yeah, I definitely think the supportive aspect, and I think now, especially in 2020, like you see all these creatives and all these influencers, whatever, like just people doing small businesses. I think it's a good idea to instill in kids now that this is a viable career option if they have, you know, the talent, discipline, et cetera, et cetera. But I wish I had someone telling me this was a viable career option. You know what I'm saying? I kind of
No
just
doubt.
stumbled into this.
No
You know what I'm
doubt. I
saying?
think we all kind of stumbled into it in a way, because, like, I mean, I don't know which generation you are, but, like, I'm second generation from an immigrant. And the immigrant mindset is like, yo, in order to be well off, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a
You
lawyer.
gotta go to school, bro.
Like,
My
you
grandpa.
have to go to school, bro. Like,
Funniest thing, yo, the funniest thing. So I'm out here, like, I'm fully living alone. I'm fully independent. Like, my family sees that I'm low key, like, I'm not thriving, but I'm able to provide for
you're
myself
good.
and do this exactly. But my grandpa, which lives next door, I live in a duplex,
Mm-hmm.
and he lives next door, so he gives me the hookup for the food. But like here and there, bro, like I'll see like that old school mentality, like yo, you should go to school, you know, just get like certified for camera. I'm like, all right. Or he'll send me like Facebook articles of like, yo, there's a good engineering program in like Connecticut that you know you should think about. And I'm just like, bro.
Yeah, man. To this day, my
Yeah,
dad's still like I mean, he jokes like he knows I'm doing okay, you know, like
yeah,
I'm on
yeah.
my own. This has turned into a career. But like he'll be like, hey man, do you ever want to go to film school? In my head, I'm like, bro, film school is expensive. Like film school
Yeah.
is a lot. But don't get me wrong, like there's definitely mad benefits of going to film school. The networks you can develop out of there. You'll never have to worry about like, oh, who might know a DP, who might know a sound mixer, who might know, like there's definitely a lot. Like if you can, if that's in your budget, go for it. But for me, I'm like, dog, I'm not gonna do hundreds of thousands just to be technically dialed in. I respect those that can, but you know, I already got student loans and whatnot. For me, like dropping out wasn't an option. In terms of like, I don't know, like for me, that was always a thing that I had to finish. I don't know if it was for me or like to do it for my parents or whatever, but like the fact that like I didn't know you literally went to school with the mindset. I'm like, dog, I'm gonna drop out. It's just a factor matter when. That's fire. But also like, I mean, shouts to our parents who I feel like they had to shift their entire mindset on kind of letting us get to a point where we're able to make that decision. And if we slip up doing it and gotta fall back and go back to school, I know for a fact my dad will be like jokingly will be like, hey man, like I told you to go to school. But like but at the same time
I feel like honestly, I mean, like even when they see like their kids, you know what I'm saying, like thriving or doing well, I don't think the full mentality is gonna go away until like I buy my mom like a house. You get what I'm saying? They're like, okay, he's like chilling. You get what I'm saying? Like, all right, I'll step back. You know what I'm saying?
Adding to that, do you feel like there's the pressure to where you're like, I'm not good until I can buy my mom a crib?
Okay. Here's the thing.
This is off topic already. But
yeah. For me, I have no doubt in my mind one day I will be wealthy. Zero doubt.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's almost like not even a dream for me. It's just like the future. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, whatever, 25, 30 years, sooner, who knows? You know what I'm saying? I know I will be making good money. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm going to be Bill Gates, but I'm saying, yo, I'll be chilling. You know what I'm saying? I'll be debt free and have good money. So it's definitely weird because I see myself now and it's like, you know, I'm young, I'm single, I'm living alone with a dog. I'm low-key living the life of like a 28-year-old white girl right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's my life right now. So like, I'm paying my bills. You get what I'm saying? And it's definitely weird, especially like my business side is just like, I'm not there. It's not even like, cause I'm not comfortable. Like I'm kind of chilling, but I'm kind of like, yo, I still like have to pay rent next month. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like that back and forth. It's almost like if I just got a good like 9-to-5 job that paid well, but I'm just so happen to be freelancing.
Yeah.
Like I'm not necessarily like in the, yo, like I'm chilling. Like, yeah, nah. But I definitely do get that feeling like I'm content because like I would have never thought. I mean, I knew I was gonna be in this spot, but it doesn't hit you till it actually happens, and like how it happened is crazy. So it's just, you know, I wake up every day like, oh man, I'm so glad I never have to take a test again. You know what I'm saying? Like
oh my
bro,
gosh.
It's the best feeling.
A part of me though misses the simplicity of the scheduling though. That's probably the only thing I miss. And being able to be like in these 2 weeks of the year where I could literally do nothing and not worry about anything. That's like the one thing I miss. But at the same time, look like not having to be like, man, but in 2 weeks I got to start all this over for another semester on stuff I literally have still yet to do. But I will say though, if I didn't finish school, my experience in particularly, I wouldn't have made the network through the internship that I took from where I was at. But at the same time, like I didn't even think that this entire industry was viable going to school for like a business marketing degree mentality of like going through that function. I was about to be pushing papers in a cart, bro, and that literally the last year of school I was just like, I'm not doing that. I got to figure something else out.
Dude, I'm honestly like, when I was in school and I saw people like studying law or studying just regular business administration, dude, I honestly envy that. I'm honestly jealous of someone that like, cause for me, like okay, and I don't mean to bash anyone that's like in school or anything, but like I would love to just like, yo, I want to be a lawyer. I wish I had the passion to be a lawyer because it's more structured. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? But I just don't have that. Like, this is the only option I have for me because like I can't do the other thing. Like I have to do this. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
wish I was passionate about law. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I would be in school right now studying law, but yeah. And I guess for me it was just a different college experience because like where I'm at, there's not great film programs. There's not, you know what I'm saying? There's not even good like just entertainment in general. So I knew I wasn't getting to get necessarily anything out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I studied business on a focus in entrepreneurship, which is BS because I learned that one full year I learned nothing. I learned absolutely nothing. But I remember I was working in the media lab as a work study, and I would like rent out cameras and stuff, like sign people off like, yo, they're renting out cameras. All right, cool, return on this date. Bro, when the seniors pulled up and I was like teaching them like just like the fundamentals of like camera stuff, I was like, bro, this this is a joke.
That's when you knew you're like, bro, I
Yeah,
I need to be doing this for real.
yeah. I was like, bro, y'all are like about to graduate in a month, and y'all like don't know like the
And
student
and
24.
they went to
And I'm
school
just like,
and they went to school for this.
yes, bro. And they're like majors like film. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, bro, this is a joke. Like this is, and it's not to like. I think if you're very studious, I like for me, like it's hard to say because I think it just depends what your passion. It depends how you learn. I learned way better on my own, and because like a lot of people, especially my friends who like went to or like do creative stuff or freelance, it's typically because they just sucked at school. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So they always just had another option. I was pretty good at school. I took AP classes, like I was low key a brainiac, but I never liked it. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
I
So
I
it
feel
was
that,
weird.
man. I was similar to that in the sense where like I was good at school when I applied myself, but I didn't like
Yeah,
applying myself, bro. Like I always just like I like being social. Like I like going places, like
yeah,
playing sports, running COD in high school, like
yeah,
just
dude.
literally just doing
It's
everything else
like,
but the actual schoolwork. And like
uh,
when I did the schoolwork, I was fine, and that was my teacher's always thing on me, which is like, yo, if you literally just show up and do the homework, you're good.
because it's just you hit a mentality where like I don't care,
Yeah,
because it's just like
for me, it was always like, for what? Like, what are we doing here?
that's what I'm saying. And
But
honestly, like school isn't hard. It's really how disciplined are you.
mm-hmm.
It
It's like a teacher of
the,
structure.
exactly that's really all it is. And like I know if I really wanted to and had no life and studied through, I could have maybe what's there's the valedictorian and then like the second person. What's it, the salutatorian, whatever the
Something
freak
like
it
that.
is.
Yeah, I got you.
But I could have low key got that. You get what I'm saying? But I'm just like, bro, it's too much, bro.
Yeah,
Like you have no life.
yeah.
No life. Like I was best friends with the homegirl that got valedictorian, bro. She had no life.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just like study, study, study. I'm just like, bro, that's not. I mean, she liked it, so I
But that's the
guess it
thing
was
too,
good for
though, is I
her.
feel like there's definitely a lot of people that school is for. You know, there's a lot of people that will thrive in those environments and take those skill sets into their career choices. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely like I'm like last thing I want to do is sit here and take mad shots at school, but
Yeah,
um, it's definitely like also an opinion that it's like not for everybody at the end of the day to
yeah,
be consistently going just to go for the paper, you know, like
yeah,
for that validation of like I
yeah.
completed, let's move on with this credit.
Exactly.
But kind of going back to the question, the second part of the question was like also welcome suggestions on inexpensive starter gear in parentheses camera, and I think this question's kind of covered in many different ways that we kind of got. Um, but honestly, I think it's gonna kind of depend because like for me, I always liked having something that I could call mine. So it's one thing just being like, oh, there's a camera here, you know what I mean? But I think like if there's some kind of act and if you're able to kind of like present something or kind of give something, there's like that new experience of like this is yours, like kind of go crazy with it. But I do think you bring up a good point on like it depends on the age because like kids have phases, you know, and like you never know. Last thing you want to do is like, unless you got it, go all in with a crazy camera package because you can, and then like the next year they're streaming on Twitch or doing something different. You know what I mean?
Or if they do, it has to come from them themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
Like for me, no, like for me, I have a very addictive personality. So like when I do something, I go hard in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like very extreme in it. But like I feel like if someone was pushing me to really go into something, it would deter me from it. But if your kid is like, Mom, I want to get a job, I want to save up money to get that, that shows more passion than anything. And if they want to blow all their money into it, that should be more of an indicator that they really like this. And that's like, you should push for it.
No
but
doubt.
If it's coming from you, like pressure, I'd be like, all right, I'm like,
no, for
back
sure
off.
No, I agree, and I want to make sure I reiterate that like it's definitely important too, because like to this day I still spend way too much money on equipment for the sake, but that's how I know I'm still like reinvesting. I mean it's probably a few things as well, but I like being all in things that I'm doing, in the sense of like if it comes down to equipment, I want to be able, because that's another thing too, is like when I was younger I wasn't able to have access to the things that like Facts. I feel like, and I don't want to take this into a conversation of like equipment elevates your quality, but I like to be able to have that resource available to push myself in that direction, knowing that like the ball's in my court once I have this stuff going for me, like, or once I have this type of equipment. But like it's definitely tricky to give one specific answer on like starter gear. I think you find something that works in your budget, but definitely give it as, or like I would say present it as you kind of said, in something like it's something to work toward, like you got to work and earn it. Like even if that don't mean that you don't have a job, like you got to do XYZ, or at least give it as some reward based if you're going to be the one kind of granting it to the kid, if you have that resource. If not, like, and they're working for it and they're working towards it in their own job and whatever, like but honestly, man, like I feel if they have a phone, if they have like an iPhone, like you can run that camera to the ground, especially nowadays. The photo quality, the video quality.
The iPhone 12, dog.
Man, the iPhone 12, people are making movies off it. I mean, obviously with like specific pro apps, and they might throw a moment lens or two on there, but I don't think you necessarily need you don't need a full camera package to like get going, or to, I don't even want to say get going, but to kind of explore that potential passion that might grow into something.
I think whatever you have, milk it out, dude. I remember, what is it, like 5-6 years ago, I was raking leaves so I could save up for the Canon EOS M, not the M3, the M5, like the first original M. And bro, I saved up, bought it off eBay for like I think 90. I think me and my brother went halfway on it, but we bought that, bro. And it was just like, that's the thing with gear. So I got it, and I'll milk it out like completely. Like the capability of what this camera could do, I'm gonna reach that. But there's a level of like, I've always been the type of person, even as a kid, when I watch certain TV shows, like how do you say it in English? Soap operas. My grandma would always watch soap operas. And
were you gonna say novellas?
Yeah.
I got you.
And you put them on TV, and like, they're showing like 60 frames. I was like, I don't like this. I hate this. You know what I'm saying? And as a kid, I could already see myself, like, I've always knew like what I wanted to make. You know what I'm saying? At least like the quality that I wanted. I just didn't know how or like why it was that way. But once I got my first camera, I started kind of understanding the settings, kind of understanding like why stuff looks this way. But then there was a level where I was like, this Canon EOS M is not gonna, like, I was shooting stuff with it, I was editing, and then my final product was like, this is not where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? And there's always so much I could do. That's when I upgraded to the A6500 like a year after, and I was like, okay, I'm finally like getting what I was like trying to get. You know what I'm saying? And then now, drawing like 3-4 years later, I still have the same A6500, and now I'm finally gonna invest into like a cinema camera. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, bro, just milk out whatever you got, and then once you feel like you fully like reach the capacity of that equipment, then consider like, all right, how do I? Because at that point your equipment's holding you back. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And you never want that. You want your creativeness to be forefront. So if there's always something you could do or finesse to, still get that creativity out, for sure. But once your equipment starts holding you back, then I'm just like, all right, if you got the money, bro, just go into it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but shouts to parents though, man. Like to be able to ask a question like this, I think that's super dope. I don't think. I mean, obviously different times, but I think it's I don't know. I think this was probably like one of my favorite questions so far. That I didn't even get to go through all of them. But going on to the next question. Let's see where we can go from here. How do you get over the fear of trying? I know what I want to do, but am fearful to try. Any advice? I'll let you take that one off first.
All right, this is low key like this kind of I'm gonna approach this not even from a creative approach,
Mm-hmm.
just like as like a life. This is this is life advice from a 22-year-old that doesn't know anything. But like, like, bro, I used to be scared to just do stuff, and it's not even like, like I said, I grew up like practicing drumming, and like, I was kind of like getting good at it, and then I gave up. You know what I'm saying? Kind of got into drawing, and I gave it up. Or that's why I was scared to get into camera stuff, and I was always dabbling in it, but I was scared to label myself like, yo, I actually like it. You know what I'm saying? I was doing it without actually like confronting myself like, yo, I like cameras. You know what I'm saying? It's like you watching like some like TV show. Like, yo, way back then, bro, I was into Pretty Little Liars. I ain't gonna front.
It's a good show.
Bro, it's a fire show.
I
I
never
mean,
watched the whole
I
thing.
mean,
I saw some episodes, but I didn't fully
I
dive.
mean, I think at the time there was only like 2 seasons out, but
Mm.
I was following. Like, I don't know where it is now, but back then, dog, I was into it. And you got to confront yourself. Like, stop hiding it. Like you got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, yo, I like Pretty Little Liars. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. So I kind of had to do the same thing with the camera stuff, and I just looked myself in the mirror. I was like, yo, I like this career field. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? It's this is a viable option or like thing that I like, and I'm gonna keep pursuing it.
Yeah.
So like I think now, like, just mentally how I approach everything, for me, fear is not, it's almost like an indicator. If something scares you, that's almost like, all right, that's what I have to do.
Mm.
It
That's good.
it's like as simple as that. If something's scaring you, is that's pretty much it, just telling you like, okay, that's what I have to do. Um One reason I went out to school to Boston wasn't because, well, I wanted to get out of the city, but the main reason I went out to school was because I didn't want to. As funny as it was. I wanted to stay in Springfield. I wanted to just go to a community college and call it a day.
Yeah.
But, I went to a small high school. The whole high school was like 90 kids. It was a small Christian high school.
Yeah.
And dude, I was scared to like just go out to Boston, or like it was super uncomfortable, whatever. And that's the period of my life where I was just like, bro, I don't care about like what scares me anymore. I'm just gonna go after whatever makes me uncomfortable. And yeah, that's the main reason I went out to school. And from there, bro, I was just like, bro, anything that makes me uncomfortable or just scared me, it's literally just an indicator of what I have to do next. Period. That's just how I think that's the best way
I
to look at it for
I
me.
think that's a really good approach to fear, bro. And that's not the first time I've heard that, in the sense where like if you ever feel like an indicator like of fear, like that's probably something that you should just jump on and do it. I
Yeah.
feel like for me, fear is something that I'm still working through, but it took a while because I feel like for me it was not thinking I was like envision myself in a position but not actually thinking that I can execute said thing.
Yeah.
Um but especially like trying like either trying new projects, or even just the other day I'm just like, oh man, I don't know if I could execute that type of photo shoot or something like that. But it's very important. I think for me, it was like once I started writing something down or like put it up on a board, you start thinking about it and like thinking of different ways how to activate it. But you really don't get over that fear of actually doing it until you actually just try it, or you actually just try a variation of it or something that's tangible that you can push yourself towards whatever it is you might be fearful of doing.
Yeah. And there's definitely smart ways, bro. I'm gonna give a perfect example. I did a pass shoot, big shoot. It was my first like big shoot where I was fully in charge of everything. First time, bro. First time using the FS5. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I would pull up, get the FS5, and I was low key uncomfortable because I was just like, I never touched the FS5. Everyone's relying on me. This is like my moment, you know what I'm saying? I'm director and DP. So I was just like, all right, this is my first time messing with like a cinema camera. But I think there's a smart way to approach things, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I did mad research, how to use the camera, blah blah. Like I absorbed as much information so that when I'm on set, I at least know how this camera operates.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then from
menus,
there I just apply
bro.
It,
those Sony menus are encrypted, bro.
bruh. But it's always like, you know, like if you're scared of something, take the first step, but prepare yourself.
But do the research, 100%. Do the work.
Exactly. Don't just blindly fall into something. It goes horrible, and then you're scared to never do it again. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Prepare yourself. Do it. There's gonna be things that go wrong, but then from there, you're like, yo, that actually wasn't so bad. Like I could honestly do something bigger.
Right. And also for me, like, I feel like one of the things that I'm starting to tell myself now when some of these jobs pop up or when it comes to shoot day after doing the work into it, like, yo, there's a reason why they hit you to do this job. There's a reason why your name came up, or like, it's not like, is this something you can do? It's like, yo, we know you could do this, even though it might be something you haven't done before, but like, yo, we trust your current skill set, your current talents.
That's facts.
That you've taken the steps already to get to that point. You know what I mean? I think that's what's important to realize when it comes to fear of trying. But even something like brand new, like for me, even when it's like new gear or something that I haven't used before, like what you said, like that research, I'll nerd out on something. Like I will go through a rabbit hole of YouTube videos on like how to turn this on, how to operate this, how to get this type of shot with limited knowledge of this equipment, you know, and even like, I mean, that's still something that I tried to incorporate when I edit, you know, like so many times when I'm or like when I started editing, I had a vision of what I wanted to do in my head, and then I'll be like, how to get this, and this in Premiere Pro 2017, 2018, 2019, just work up the ranks, you know, like, and I think there's so much, like, with the exception of, like you said, doing the work that leads into that job, but even as you're doing it, like, don't be afraid to ask somebody for help, or don't be afraid to like pivot in the moment, and if something's not working in real time, just like learn from it. It's literally a part of the process. There's so many things that have gone wrong on set for me. Something that wasn't executed the right way that I had to pivot and whatnot, and that's just part of it.
And nothing ever goes right.
Ever.
You know what I'm saying?
There's never a seamless production day.
Never. There's always something that goes wrong. Always. And I think the greatest directors, honestly, are just the best finessers. I think that's really what it boils down to. How good are you on your toes? Yeah. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like if something goes, it's like, all right, finesse. You know what I'm saying? Yo, this is completely off topic, but one of my best, like I feel like there should be a name for this, but the best, like euphoria, bro, is when you like order a new piece of gear, and in the time that you place the order and it's still like coming to your house, like with the tracking number and stuff, you're just watching mad videos on it just to like confirm that you bought. Like, I don't know, like that feeling.
Can this do everything that I wanted it to do? Yeah, I think it can.
Exactly. And I'm literally just watching videos to confirm that I made like a good decision. That's one of the best feelings by far.
This next one said, this is kind of like a statement type question, but are there questions that are needed, more technical questions or more dream talk questions? Oh, this was like kind of asking for the preference. If it's more the latter, meaning dream talk questions, how can a creative person master the business side? Oftentimes you find the same YouTube channels talk about the business of creativity, and yet no one isn't really saying anything about them bills though. At times it seems like some people have it business wise and some don't. Let's see. I feel like the business side of it is tricky for everybody. I feel like
business side in terms of what? Like just like we're talking about like freelancing?
I think so. I think that's kind of hinting towards. Initially when I read the question I interpreted it something different. But because like the way I interpreted at least the middle part regarding the bills is like, I don't know if you were asking on if you're working creatively, are you talking about like only being able to focus on creative type jobs, or like are you still juggling that with the side job that you might have in order to kind of pave the way for your creative vision?
Or are they just saying like, how do you manage the business side as a just creative generally?
Oh, I see. I mean,
it's okay. I think there's two approaches to this, and I think this just boils down to who you are as a person. I'm telling you right now, I know people that they just like, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Most creative people I've ever met, but they just work better working for like a company and running all their creative stuff. You know what I'm saying? For like maybe a shoe store or something. You know what I'm saying? Rather than freelancing full time, because man, it's stress.
It's a lot. It's super stress.
It's stress because you're creative full time and you're an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? You're literally just, and it ain't for everyone. Like you really have to be on top of your game and just like communication, writing out the contracts, doing the invoices, doing the taxes, keeping thing of your receipts, doing the write-offs.
Man,
it's a lot.
All while trying to book gigs to keep everything floating and paid for.
Facts. Do the marketing, do the promotion,
right.
Do the communication, proposals, treatments, and then on top of that, still figuring out how you're gonna pay rent next month because your landlord's on your ass like, yo, I need that rent by the first. I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think you kind of hit it on the head in the sense where like this type of moving like work wise definitely isn't for everybody, but at the same time it doesn't mean that you can't find somebody to work with that might be able to have those strengths as well.
100%.
But that's also not easy because like if you're ever working with people, it's got to be somebody already in your circle that you know, because I mean you got to know intentions, you know, like if you really want to like build something with longevity that's going to grow for like the long-term play, there's going to be a lot of months where you're working with somebody, but that also means you're splitting that invoice, you're splitting that time card two ways, you know, and like that definitely takes more jobs to start becoming more lucrative, but that also might be a sacrifice that you might have to make if you want to bring somebody on that might be a little stronger on the business side of it, because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy to be your own business in that sense. If you just want to focus on like, yo, I just want to shoot, then you also got to figure out somebody who just wants to handle the business side.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, like that title sounds so dope, like being your own boss. Like, of
course. And bro, I think there's ego. There's also a little ego that comes with it too, you know.
For sure. But when I'm telling you, like, if you're not a person that could manage constant, I want to say stress. There's like a undertone of just underlying like worry, 24/7, and it's not even like unhealthy. It's just like, all right, it almost keeps me on my toes. You know what I'm saying? But overall, like in a macro lens, I'm content. You know, I'm chilling. But, you know, if you want to dial in and focus, like, all right, I still have to figure out for this contract. You know, there's it's, to say the least, it's a 24/7 job. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as an off switch. Like you can't clock in and clock out, or even like, if I know someone who shoots for like stores, you know what I'm saying? They get rather it's a retainer. I was actually working retainer for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um Last year I was working retainer for a management company that manages artists, and bro, it was chill to make sure you get in that check every single month. But I found myself, that's where you gotta choose what's more important, because I found myself hating what I used to love. Like I didn't want to pick up my camera anymore
Oh
just
wow.
because of the stuff that I was shooting. I wasn't in control of what, what I'm saying, we had to shoot,
Mm-hmm.
or like the vision, you know what I'm saying? I would pitch ideas that are like so dope, but at the end of the day they're shot down, they're used to what they're comfortable with. There's nothing you could do about it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it reached that point I had to leave because it's just like I would rather have every month be 100% risk, but that freedom of like, all right, I could pick and choose my clients. I'm able to. I'm like, if I want to make X amount of money this month, I have to work extremely hard. That's up to me. If I want to chill next month and only
Mm-hmm.
make this much, that's completely up to me. And I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no cap or limit to anything. But man, yeah, that's something you have to sit down for yourself and be like, what type of person am I mentally?
Mm-hmm.
Cause yeah, I knew someone who like wasn't used to like doing the freelance full-time thing, and then they just jumped into it because that's what every other photographer was doing in,
Yeah.
bro, and they were stressed like with just the regular stuff. And I'm like, bro, this is this is just how it is. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
can make no money for 2 to 3 months, and then you'll make 15 G's out of nowhere off one project. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not okay with that, freelance just isn't for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally okay. Find a company that maybe, you could get a retainer on, work 2 weeks out of each month, and then the other 2 weeks you still have to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that can go into this next question on how do you navigate owning your vision for a project while working with a client's vision.
Sheesh.
I mean, I think there's a couple. I think it just depends on the client. Like I think something that you kind of touched on was like working with people that I don't want to say that you necessarily want to, but I feel like for me, I'm at a point where I do a lot of stuff with Kev and that takes care of me. But now I'm kind of able to not necessarily select the people that I'm open to working with more. Like I feel like I don't necessarily just have to jump in a job just because like okay it's paying something,
Yeah.
um, and I need something in order to make this rent. But I feel like there's gonna be times where you're taking jobs and that initial vision is like yo it's gonna be dope, but then it might take a turn either because of budget or because they just want to change the direction. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to still put the best energy you can into it because if your name's on it too, you don't want something crazy coming out just because you just wanted to get it done and over with instead of actually seeing it through. Um, but there's a lot of communication that comes with that as well.
I think for me, starting off, what really clicked in the gear for me was starting off, I didn't know how to price myself, right? So this is a lot of struggle with a lot of freelancers. And what happens is when you undersell yourself, which I was doing a lot, just to get out there, when you undersell yourself and you have a crazy vision, and the client, at the end of the day, it's for the client.
Mm-hmm.
Rather you want to fight it or not,
Right.
it's for the client. So you have to appease on what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So it's harder to sacrifice like your vision for that project when you're not getting paid well too.
For sure.
So, it almost, cause like, I'll do weddings, you know what I'm saying? I hate doing weddings, but they pay good, dog.
Bro,
You
they
know what
cash out.
they pay good. So, I'll suck it up and be like, all right, cool. I'll do this wedding for X amount. But then there's also like what was it, like a
Weddings are
month ago.
stressful, man.
Dude, a month ago, like a homie hit me up and he was like, yo, trying to shoot my wedding, and at first I was like, nah, honestly, like, because you know I'm at a point where I say no to a good amount of stuff because I just
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do it, and weddings is one of those things. I'm just like, nah, I'm not trying to do that. And the one thing he said was, you have full creative control, and he was like, I'm not trying to have no regular wedding video, whatever, like, and at that point, I didn't even care how much he was charging. We pulled up like a couple days earlier. We almost shot like a full love story. It's not even
It's
focused on
fire.
the wedding, so it's kind of like, you have to pick and choose your battles. But I would say if you're already in a situation where you're like currently dealing with the client, and then like, I want this versus I want that,
Mm-hmm.
just appeal to the client. At the end of the day, it's just a project. Um, for me, I always make sure, number one priority for my projects, the client has a great experience with me. That's the number one thing. Number one thing
That's
above all.
priority.
If you um saying something or really pushing your vision is making the client have a bad experience, that's not good. That's not
Mm.
good. You know what I'm saying? You should always keep having a good experience on top. Because that's really what's gonna boil it down to when they want to hire you again. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Let's see what else we could fit in within this little time cap. Let's go. There we go. As a creator, what kind of schedule do you use to keep yourself getting your work done, like editing, for example, before you get caught up in doing non-work related activities? Honestly, for me, it's a constant juggle. Um, but I know if I don't prioritize like getting work done, I'll just procrastinate way too close to the deadline. Um, which is something I consistently work on in terms of trying to not procrastinate. But I've been doing that my whole life. So, I think like locking yourself, for me personally, like for me it's like it's a constant change in schedule, unfortunately, just because when shoots pop up on during a time where I would normally be like, this is a time where I know I could be home and
Yep.
lock in for at least 2 hours and focus on this project. uh but I know it's good for me to get started early in the morning on days that I don't have work or don't have like a set shoot to be at. um because if I don't do it or kind of like start chipping it away during the day early on, then I'll wait too late in the day and then I just get tired and then not work on it. But especially as a freelance, I mean, I'm not full-time freelance, but even like on days where I schedule off but still might have some availability to leave open for like shoots that might pop up, I still have to give myself a day off every week to at least be home and not have to be anywhere, to at least give myself the option of like, I know I can for sure work on some type of this project or some type of amount of time dedicated to this project on this day. And normally that's Sundays for me. um but yeah, I feel like personally that type of schedule is always moving. It's just being able to navigate and utilize your time most effectively and efficiently when you do have it.
Yeah. I feel like for me, um, I don't really look at things like I lost, and it's so weird. I lost like the meaning of like a Saturday.
Yeah, there's no
every day
like,
is just
yeah.
every day is just a day for me. So for me, I look at it more like, I have this amount of time to get my project done. Am I gonna finish the deadline? Or realistically, I like to finish it earlier because it just makes me look better. Um, I think the biggest thing that I do that helps me so much, because I'm a huge procrastinator, and it's not even that I don't like. Well, sometimes I don't like what I'm doing, but I just
Mm-hmm.
generally hate editing. You know what I'm saying? So I think the biggest thing that helps me is the day of the shoot or the day I get back. I have to do something,
Mm-hmm.
dump the footage, and at least import it into Premiere.
That's huge.
I always have to do, like, before I go to sleep. It could be 3 a.m. I just got off a flight. I have to dump all this footage. I have to at least put it to transcode, do something, do the first step.
Yeah.
Um, because if not, then from there, it's like, no, I'll do it tomorrow. and then it's like, oh man, I gotta dump all that footage. You know what I'm saying? It's that first step that makes the art. So when you already do that first step, and yeah, it's like one of my rules. Like the second I'm back,
You
I
have
have
to.
to.
You gotta back it up. Plus, it's a peace of
100%.
mind too. You know, like
Exactly.
backing up your footage right away is almost a non-negotiable.
Yeah,
And
100%.
and I'm kind of like that as well in the sense where like, especially like editing photos. If I start dumping it, I'll want to start going through it. Honestly,
Exactly.
like sometimes I don't get motivated to edit something unless I just open the project and just start looking through stuff.
Yeah, but
Whether
it's so hard to open.
Oh my
that
gosh.
project.
Yeah, and then I'll be
Bruh.
like, oh, I gotta turn my computer on. I gotta organize this file. I start thinking about
Bruh.
all the nuance. I don't know if that's the right word. All like the tedious setup tasks that it takes before I can actually start
Yeah.
on the project. And that's what kind of turns me off more in terms of like wanting to procrastinate or just allowing procrastination to kind of flow through.
Exactly. So what I would do is I'd dump the footage, and I would at least I always do one thing. Like I'll find my favorite shot and dump it into the timeline, and then from there it'll just spark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh, let me just dump in all the B-roll. Like it just, and then stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good
But
though.
like, yeah.
But like, no, I feel that because I'm the same way. If I don't start on it right away, that's when my procrastination is just like, oh, we're just getting started. This is what we're about to kick off, bro.
I'm like at the point where I want and need an editor, but I can't afford it.
No, me too.
So it's kind of like, oh man, I don't want to edit.
And part
Like,
of
it's
it,
just-
part of it for me too, is like I want to know the editor. Like I want to be able to trust the editor is gonna
Facts.
go through every single shot and not just scrub
Yeah.
and find whatever moments that might be there. You know, like
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a lot of because I'm definitely at a point where like I might actually be able to swing like bringing an editor on, but I don't even like I don't just want to hit anybody up. Like I want to have somebody whose like goal is to be a fire editor. You know, because there's so many of us that like wear a bunch of different hats because we have to or we want to pay this bill. But also what might come with that is like, yo, whatever's in this footage, I'm gonna find what I think is just real quick that I could just kind of scrub through and pull and drop in the timeline. Instead of like somebody who's passionate about editing that's gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna do the best editing job on every single project that I'm doing because that's what I want to be doing.
And that's hard to find. I mean, unless it's like a wedding, I'm just like, all right, just take it, bro.
I mean, there's only so many moments in a wedding too, though, where it's just like it's chronological in the sense of there's not like, oh, let's run that back. Let's get the best from this take and put it in the best of this take. It's like, yo, the moment we either got it or we got a variation in this third cam.
Facts.
Drop it in. If it's not there, we're moving on. Like,
like weddings and like tedious stuff like that, bro.
Yeah.
Just editor, bro. I don't care who you are, bro. Just take it, please.
Man. Let's see. Let's do a light one. What's the cheapest starter pack for YouTube and podcasting just to start off?
Okay, I will only recommend what I use, Sony A6500.
I'm right there with you.
Bro, it's 4 years old and
Solid.
it's still my main camera.
I shot Kev's documentary on this camera. It is a solid piece of equipment that you can build a kit for with almost anything. There's mad lenses available for it, which is amazing. Sigma lenses. You pretty much only run Sigmas, right?
Yeah. Oh, the Sony 85, the FE one, bro.
Oh, sorry to bother.
Bro, I'm not gonna front. That's the sharpest. That's my favorite lens in
Yeah.
terms of sharpness, bro. It's so sharp, and it's not even. It's a 1.8. It's not even the Zeiss one. It's just the regular standard Sony
Yeah.
cleanest.
But I mean, depending, like in terms of podcast equipment, it's tricky. You know, like you could have. Honestly, I would invest in a camera to make the look kind of fire. But if you're trying to do like a video podcast, honestly, if you have an iPhone, the voice memo app, audio
Facts.
recording is low key pretty fire. And then you could just sync those things up if you want to do like a video based podcast. But yeah, I mean,
best thing I recommend, CamLink, if you're trying to do a podcast.
Oh my God,
I've
shouts
tried
to CamLink.
other HDMI third parties, and I even tried the Elgato H. Bro, the CamLink is plug and play. The computer just reads it as a webcam. Like it's the best thing I ever bought.
I tried to do image capture. I tried to do everything other than just waiting to buy the cam link, and I finally bought it, and now Kev's mad at me because he's like, your stuff can't be looking nicer than everybody's. Jokingly,
bro, because the beginning of
I gotta
quarantine,
lace everybody.
Bro, they were going for 400 or 500.
Bro, you couldn't get anything Elgato related. I wanted to get another capture card. I wanted to get this cam link. Yeah, there was nothing. Now Best Buy just got them on deck because they know.
Yeah, I just bought another one last week, and they're finally like down. So I bought it for like 120.
Oh,
so I was like, all right, cool, yeah. Amazon Prime. So,
you running 2 cams on this now?
Nah. It was for like a wedding. Like,
okay.
You know, yeah.
Gotcha.
I should though. Do a little gear setup.
Little overhead. That'd be fire.
yeah.
That'd be fire.
Yeah. But I would definitely say Sony A6500.
Yeah, I was.
And 16, the 16 Sigma 16 1.4 Pro. That lens is
all you
clean.
need. That's all you need. The autofocus, like even if you just want to take photos with it or some video with it on the side too.
Yeah. This is what I'm using right now.
That's my setup too. Great autofocus.
Perfect.
You don't got to worry about it looking for. That's the thing too. If you get a cheaper lens, like a actually I don't know. This camera low key is great with a lot of lenses focus wise and whatnot. But yeah, invest in some decent glass. Like, I mean, if you could swing it, this Sigma is pretty dope. If not, this Sony right here, this is it's called a pancake lens, but it's super thin.
Oh, that's the 16 to, what is it, 35?
Nah,
right?
This is just the 20. It's a 22.8.
Oh, word.
See if this thing will pull it. Come on. There it is.
There we go.
This thing's fire though. This is the actual size of the lens.
Sheesh.
And this is cheaper. I think this is cheaper than the Sigma. This is probably like in the 200 to 300 range. The Sigma I think is what, 6-ish, give or take.
Yeah.
But yeah, depending on your budget. But the body though, I would say the A6500 for sure.
Tips: buy your stuff used, guys.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Don't be buying no brand new stuff.
There's no need.
Yeah.
There's no need. Unless
buy
you
a camera,
got it like that.
got a little mud in the sensor. Yeah, just wipe it.
It's all right. Just blow on it. It'll be all right. And then, but yeah, I was gonna say, but if you could swing that and budget in a mic, just get a little Yeti USB mic. You don't need anything crazy XLR because then you got to worry about an audio interface on top of that. But that's too much. It's just less is more, especially when it comes to stuff like this. You don't need anything crazy in this day.
I think the main thing you need is good light, guys. Good light. Please
make the camera do the least amount of work as possible.
Facts.
But yeah, man. We didn't get through all these questions, but we'll definitely circle back on which direction question wise we want to go on the next one. I think we definitely got another few hundred to sift through that we could have maybe touched on in this one, but yeah, man, I think this was a solid little start.
Yeah,
this was a good time.
Yeah, it's pretty,
Yeah, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what type of questions you guys might have, creative wise, or I mean, any type of direction you would like to see this kind of show go in. Or the
just comments. Like conversations, topics, maybe stories y'all want to hear,
perspectives, whatever. We got mad stuff we could share as long as nothing's crazy. But yeah, man, thanks for pulling up, guys. Thank you for tapping in. If you tapped in audio base wise, or if you saw firsthand Lugo setup and how it's having me rethink my entire room situation. But yeah, man, thanks for watching. Lugo, let them know where to find you.
Yo, I'm out here. Everything. Where's Lugo? That's it.
Fantastic. You have a fire site too. We gotta throw.
Yo, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's dialed in. It's dialed in.
So many years of just like copy pasting, custom coding from like Reddit.
Hey man, you figured it out, bro. Yeah, man. Also, when we're wrapping up here, we let them know where to find you. Also, what specific services are you hireable for?
Okay, so I am DP director. I do a lot of freelance work, music videos. I like working with indie artists. They're the most creative. Yeah, so just your regular DP director work. But if you need some color grading, I got you. I'm a full-time colorist now. I'm low key, but you know.
Hey man,
Yeah.
that's a good look. That's a good look. All right. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll tap in hopefully sometime soon. I'm not gonna give an exact date because whenever we feel like we're gonna do the next one, we're gonna do the next one.
Yeah.
Peace.
All right, peace.